to Jake Jackets. Gear up to fire the cannon and hit the ice with your host, Jay Ashdown and Jake Gehringer.
Woo! Wow. Yeah, just those dog days, right?
Yeah.
Dog days of the off season in the summer, and we're just like, what? It's August? What?
10th? 11th?
Yeah, August 10th. When we're recording this, like, there's nothing going on really in the hockey sphere. Like, all the GMs are out to Cabo and, you know, the Caribbean and wherever they go. I'm sure Bill Zito just stays in Miami.
Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you just stay in Miami if you're Bill, right? Jeez.
For anybody.
We have missed a lot because that's entirely my fault.
Yeah, no, I've said this before the few times that it's happened, but it's really nice when we have like a long break and it's your fault instead of mine.
Oh, really? It's the nice thing when it's me having...
Yeah, because it balances it out a bit. It makes me feel like, okay, I'm not the only one who's, delaying things sometimes.
I've had a lot of internet issues recently. Like, there was the last time we were going to record, and I just could not get any connections for the life of me.
Yeah.
And so I had to do the full, like, IT route where I had to unplug every little thing in my modem and my router, and then wait for, like, an hour before plugging things back in. And then it worked miraculously.
Mm-hmm.
And that was after, like, days.
Yeah.
Because I've been going through this weird thing where, like, it'll work on my computer, but then it won't work on my phone for whatever reason. And then, like, well, now it's just working, thankfully. So hopefully it holds up for this recording.
Yeah, so timer to make sure that we're staying on track. That way we don't have a long enough show that it can be ruined at the end by internet issues like
or a dead battery or
anything like that.
Like what we're weirdly known for our like big tech issues, aren't we? Like that's a weird staple that we have.
Yes. Death, taxes, and tech issues.
Ugh. So we're like way behind the boat on things.
Oh, we're way behind. But the good news is if you haven't gotten any fresh takes on the new Blue Jackets coach, we're here. Especially considering the fact that this is the guy that we wanted all along.
We got our guy.
We got him. We got him.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
I can't tell you how happy I am that Dean Evason is the coach of the Columbus Blue Jackets, because obviously this is the guy that you and I have wanted from day one, from even before we fired Pascal Vincent, when it was not official, but it was kind of obvious that he was going to
as soon as he hit the market, it was like,
because he got fired, I want to say in November or December.
Woodcroft and Evason were around the same time, I believe.
Yes. And, so he hasn't had a coaching job since. He's been kind of waiting in the wings, waiting for the right opportunity. And I think this is the right opportunity. You look at what he did in Minnesota. It's a young team that he developed a lot of their core players properly. They played really, really good, defensive hockey. They played structured hockey.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the important thing about Dean Evason that I really liked. He's done it with many different question mark goaltenders.
Right.
So Philip Gustafson, young guy, was highly touted when he was drafted, but, it seemed like a bit of a floater, because he hadn't made the jump that many people expected for some time. He comes up, question marks around him, and he's fantastic.
He had a great run that first, granted, those Ottawa teams, obviously we know what's going on in Ottawa, and hopefully for friends of ours, for their sake, hopefully they're better this year.
Mm-hmm.
And actually prove that they're better this year.
Yeah.
Which one thing, they they traded Corpy, and now they've got Linus Ullmark, which is already a huge improvement. What a trade that was, right?
Yeah, so he starts in Ottawa, Phil Gustafson does.
Yes.
And in his 27 games, his 23 starts, 10-13 with a 905.
Which is fine.
It's fine. And then he goes to Minnesota, and that first year in 39 games played, 37 starts, 22, 9-7 with a 931 and a 210. Now, last year in 45 games, including 43 starts, he had 899.
Which
so goaltending was a part of things kind of falling apart from the Minnesota Wild, and Dean Evason eventually, get the boot. But when you look at him, those stats, and then before him, Marc-Andre Fleury at the, he's aging, so there's question marks around him. Cam Talbot as the goalie, question marks around him. Like Dean Evason's success in Minnesota has largely come without a bona fide number one, this is your guy goaltender. And that's a big thing for me because the Blue Jackets are very much in that same situation right now because, Elvis is being paid as the number one starter.
right, but we don't know
if he is. We don't know.
We've seen flashes from Tarasov already. We've seen very slight glimmers from Jet.
Yeah. Jet, in my opinion, isn't so much a part of this equation because he needs his time in Cleveland.
Right, but at the same time, like we've already seen very small glimpses of what Greaves can do.
Yeah. So, right now the focus is on Elvis and to a decent extent, Tarasov too. I don't care who it is. I think this whole fan base doesn't care who it is. Someone's got to play. Someone's got to be a number one goalie here. And can Dean Evason get that out of either of those guys?
So
there's question marks, but I think that I don't think it's illogical to say, yeah, he could probably get it out of one of those guys.
I want to mention this from The Athletic before we go any further, because they recently did their like fan base evaluations versus public evaluations of front office and how the businesses are being run and stuff.
Yeah.
So last year we were 22nd.
In what?
In front office rankings. As my internet is going.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good.
I'm just gonna keep updating people on that, I guess. Last year, 22nd. This year, 28th.
Okay.
So they have public and fan base grading for this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 6 different categories and then the total.
Okay.
Roster building. Public gave us a D. Fan base gives it a C.
Okay.
Cap management, same thing. Public gave us a D and fan base gave it a C. These are respectively 32nd, 21st, 29th, and 22nd in the rankings. On average, we get a D plus and a 2.8 with everything.
Okay.
Drafting and developing, a 2.7 C minus for 26th from the public and a C plus from the fan base, which if you followed close enough, you can tell we've drafted highly enough and we're working on that development stage for a lot of our guys.
I think a lot of people are probably happy with the drafting, but I think there's so many question marks and maybe concerns with the developing.
Right. Trades, a D from the public and a C minus from the fan base.
See, I think this is an interesting discussion, but I think it's hard to evaluate because, like, we're largely grading this on Yarmo. Like, we can't really evaluate anything that Don Waddell has done so far. So no offense to you,
No,
that
and no
survey,
offense to
but this kind
the
of feels
survey,
a
like
little. It feels a little irrelevant and just
little
this,
unfair, right?
like,
The
yeah,
But just to polish it off, free agency, public gave us a D, and fan base gave it a C plus.
yeah. So free agencies, I think they're probably looking at the Johnny contract and the Monahan contract and saying, both are probably overpaid. Johnny hasn't lived up to expectations, but we're
We
looking
don't know
at
what to expect from Sean right now.
we're looking at it from a perspective of, hey, we got Johnny Gaudreau, we're happy about that, and hey,
Exactly.
Gaudreau's buddies, so we're happy about that too.
We'll see how that goes. And
Yeah.
then the vision, we got a D and a C plus.
Yeah.
So everything amounts to a D and a C.
If they want to evaluate, like, to me, like, this evaluation is about Yarmo's last 3 years as the Blue Jackets GM, and I think that this is more than a fair evaluation from the public. In terms of Don Waddell,
So here's the thing when it came to comparing these guys.
yeah,
Public is far less confident
mm-hmm.
at like an 80-20 split.
Mm-hmm.
But the fan base, with the addition of Don Waddell and now with the addition of Dean Evason,
Yeah.
And now that he's also brought in his assistants to add on to Bowler and a couple of the guys that we retained.
Mm-hmm.
Fan base is sitting at a split 86% way more confident and 7% less confident. So the fan base kind of skyrocketed.
Yeah, I think the fan base skyrocketed largely because of, as you said, new GM, new head coach, looking at their resumes and saying there's reasons to be confident here because we wanted to change, but change just isn't good enough. It needs to be the right change, and I think most people think that this is the right change.
So just to sum up the screenshot I got, the quote says, "With Waddell coming in, we can't still fully excuse the roster he inherited, but it feels refreshing for a new set of experienced eyes to come in and shake things up as needed." So that's exactly the point.
Yes. Yeah. So real quick, I want to give you a little bit of a rundown of Dean Evason and some of the work that he has done in Minnesota. Okay. So we'll start off with his first season, his first full season, and that was the shortened season in 2021. They finished 35, 16, and 5.
Really? He's only been there? He'd only been there since 21?
The 2020. It's the 2020/2021 season.
I know that, but like, wait, really?
He took over like right before COVID.
Huh.
So he was an interim in the 19/20 season.
That must have been after they let go of Boudreaux. Okay.
So he takes over. He coached 12 games that season. They went 8-4. So that year was Kaprizov's rookie year.
Right. So you're inheriting Kirill Kaprizov, though.
Yes, but he's developing him because even though he's been mostly baked overseas, he still needs to make that adjustment to the NHL level.
Right.
And his first season, 51 points in 55 games. Kevin Fiala, 40 points in 50 games. Jordan Greenway was actually 4th on the team with points that year.
Wow. I know. Was it the year after that Hartsey popped off?
No, this is right before Hartsey popped off because Hartsey only had 22 points in 51
Ryan
games.
Hartman, everybody.
So really good. So 75 points in 56 games. Real quick, I'm going to do some math here. Okay, this is going to blow your mind. All right. That is a 110-point pace.
What?
Yeah. The next season, you think 110-point pace is impressive, Jake? The next season was a full 82-game season. They finished with 113.
Wow.
53 wins that year. And here's some stats for you. Kirill Kaprizov, after that impressive rookie season of 51 points in 55 games, had 108 points in 81 games. Kevin Fiala, 40 points in 50 games the year prior, 85 and 82. Matt
That's
Super
what
had
brought
79 and 70. Ryan Hartman, 34 goals, 65 points in 82 games. The pop off of Joel Eriksson-Ek, 49 points in 77 games. So like those are the big things. The next season,
and that's just the forwards, guys. Like,
yes. Next season, 103 points. So that's 3 consecutive seasons where they were above the 100-point mark in terms of actual points. And then that one season projected over.
that was the pacing, right?
Pacing. So where do we have this season? Another point per game season, 75 points in 67 games for Kirill Kaprizov. Matt Boldy, 63 points in 81 games in his rookie season. Joel Eriksson-Ek, 61 points in 78 games. You know, they got good goaltending from Philip Gustafsson, as I said, and even okay goaltending from Marc-Andre Fleury. The 2 previous years, they got good goaltending from Marc-Andre Fleury and Cam Talbot. The point here that I want to make is we've talked about the defenseman that he has done a good job with, but the forwards, I don't think he's gotten nearly enough credit because you look at Kevin Fiala reaching his full potential finally happened under him.
Right.
Ryan Hartman reaching his full potential happens under him. He develops Kirill Kaprizov, Matt Boldy.
The breakout of Joel Eriksson-Ek. Yeah.
Yes. Like, there is so much here to look at and say, oh my gosh. Well, you look at, you know, a guy who might be signing a 2-year extension soon, Cole Sillinger.
And that's we just did this whole time. This was just us.
Yes.
Like,
we also extended
for those watching. I'm doing the like.
They extended Kirill Marchenko. Well, he's had a really good start, but he still has more to go.
Right.
Kent Johnson, that's a big piece that needs to be developed. Well, you know, I think he might be able to develop him. Adam Fantilli, does he need to necessarily do, you know, go all in like on some of these other guys in terms of player development? When you look at Kaprizov, you know, this guy is naturally gifted enough as is, you know, but he has helped that guy along.
Right.
He can do this with Adam Fantilli, you know, and then eventually Caden Lindstrom when he comes.
I'm sorry, I can't stop doing the like Burns
as we have
fingers.
discussed. You know, David Yerchak, Denton Matachuk, you know, Stan Svozil,
right?
Orson Coolmans when time comes. You know, like there's so much.
That's so weird. I know there's a lot here, but like you mentioned Coolmans, that's one that I'm not as high on anymore. Weirdly enough.
Yeah, I've slipped a little bit in terms of that, but you know, but again, you never know because defensemen can take longer to develop. Right. And we knew he was going to be a bit of a project too.
Right.
So
plus you have the guys that have already been established, all 3 of the Russian kids.
Yeah.
Oh my God, imagine what Dean's going to do with all 3 of the Russian kids.
Oh, dude, these guys still have developing to go and there's still ceiling left. They can get better. And also, you know, we talk about player development. Dude, how about getting Johnny Gaudreau back on track?
Yeah, that's a big one. Like, I know Johnny, like, we don't
talk about... His production isn't bad. His production's not bad at all. But, you know, he's been a 70, you know, mid-70s point player. How about getting him back to over a point a game? How about getting him into the 90-point range?
Right. It's funny because, like, when we talk development of players, we never talk about that from a veteran standpoint.
Yeah, we don't talk about it from a veterans because everybody kind of looks at it as like, oh, they're already baked.
Sure, so... you peak at some point and then you just become who you are, sure. But when you're a guy like Johnny Gaudreau and you move a team like that, right? When you go from a team that just went to a couple of Western Conference finals and you pop off with over 100 points, and then you come to a franchise like this who's
15 points before he came here. And we have said on multiple occasions that that's not the player we expect to get here.
Right.
But can he get us 90 points next year?
Can he be our first 90-point player?
We've had a 90-point player.
Panarin was only 87.
He was only 87?
Only 87.
I swear to God he had 90 points that year.
Nope. Nope.
Oh, wow.
Panarin
Yeah.
only popped off at 87. That was it.
Interesting.
But
Or he had like
yes,
90 or 92. So yeah, can he get to 90 points? Can he get us 25 goals and 90 points next season?
right. I think he can. Especially with Monty coming in. We know they already have like
Yeah.
instant off ice chemistry. I wonder, because they've been away so long from each other, if that's going to return as quickly. That's my only concern with Sean Monahan.
It's a question. I mean, and we've seen it's a good question. For me, I'm not so much concerned about that because and part of the reason is because Dean Evason is such a structured coach, and those two guys did it largely under structured coaching. Like thinking like they did a lot of their
Daryl
damage.
Sutter.
Daryl Sutter is their coach. Bob Hartley. Like, so,
Glenn
like
Gulutzin. Like,
so, I think that this will help them a lot. And we don't have to expect the world of Sean Monahan either. Can
no.
he get 20 goals, 50 points next season? I think that's big if he does.
Right. And it also, like, weirdly enough, it gives you way more of a solid center position,
Yes.
which is what we've needed for a long time. You have a four. You have a core of Fantilli, Monahan, Sillinger, Corrali.
Yes.
Right? That's officially your depth chart at center. You can play Boone at center if you have to.
You can play Voronkov at center if you want to. And we'll see. I don't expect Caden Lindstrom to make this roster.
No.
I just don't think they want to rush that.
No. He'll probably be back in juniors.
Probably be back in juniors, and I'm fine with that. So, this is a good thing. And it's not being talked about enough, in my opinion, as we talk about Dean Evason. Because we brought up, we talk about the young guys, but also he can help Johnny get back on track and Sean Monahan get back on track.
He did that with Marcus. He did it with Marcus and Zucky.
I don't think we've talked enough. Injuries have played a part of this, but
yeah,
these last 2 years have been, I don't think it's unfair to say, a bit underwhelming from Zach Werenski.
Just a little bit.
That's a guy he can get back on track.
Yes. He can.
And like I said, health is a big part of it. I don't think it's totally on Zach because he had to deal with terrible coaching as well as injury issues. So like that makes a big impact. But
they're still swapping deck chairs too. Like, we don't know what's going to happen with Patty. He's officially like back on the block now that he's cleared player assistance.
Yes.
Which, thank God, Patrick Laine is fine.
Yeah. He said he's engaged.
He is engaged now, which congrats to Patrick.
Good for him.
So like he's living his best life and they're trying to work on a move.
Yeah.
Which, we'll follow Patty wherever he goes. Hell.
Yeah.
We love that dude.
So like you look at the defensive core real quick, because I just mentioned, I mentioned the two young guys. I mentioned Werenski.
Z Severson, Provorov, Erikkson-Ek.
Yes.
And then Goodbranson with JJ, probably, which we know how that could go.
Oh my God.
I keep forgetting that we brought Jack Johnson back.
Eric Goodbranson defensive
We said this when we got him.
No, but like Eric Branson actually had a really good year last year.
Eric was great last year for what it's worth.
I wouldn't be surprised if that actually continued under Dean Evason.
I just wonder how that's going to work. Bringing
yeah. So I actually feel hope. It's interesting, isn't it?
Okay. Hope can drive a man insane.
Is this a reference that I'm...
Shawshank.
I've never seen it.
You've never seen The Shawshank Redemption? Come on, Jay.
I've
Dude,
seen
I know.
Family Guy's spoof of it. I've never actually seen
Oh,
the movie
dude.
yet.
Oh my God. Okay, so this is a prime summer moment right here because like we've talked about so many movies that neither of us have seen, or like I've never watched I Think You Should Leave or shit like that.
Yeah, yeah. So do we want to just get into the extensions real quick?
Let's do this really quick
Sure.
because as you know, everything we do
Mhm.
at THPN, whether that's us doing Keppies during the season, us doing any episode over the summer, doing, live streams, doing watch alongs. We've got Tales with TR up on the THPN YouTube channel and other fun things that we do. We couldn't do this without DraftKings Sportsbook.
Yes. Well, they made me some money yesterday.
You know what's awesome about being a sports fan?
Everything.
Especially during an Olympic year.
You can bet on things.
There's only 2 days out of the whole calendar year without sports. Give or take.
I hate those days.
It's such a weird day, right?
What am I supposed to do?
What do I do? Go outside? Play a sport myself? What?
Do my job? With food?
Oh boy, only
Eat.
2. That makes just about every day game day at DraftKings.
Yes.
Super easy for the first timers to get started. You simply just pick a team to win.
Yeah.
Right? All you got to do is go look for a game you want to bet on and just pick something.
Yeah. You just look at a game and be like, win.
Go. Yeah, I pick this team to win and I'm going to place this amount of money on it. Place your first bet. It's really that simple. So let's take a look at some lines, shall we? It's the summer. It's baseball season, which, by the way, the Reds and the Braves are going to be playing a game at Bristol Motor Speedway in 2025. They just announced that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That's going to be so dope. You can bet on individual players. You can bet on Paul Skeens to have an awesome game for the Pirates. You can bet on.
Does that even win you money anymore?
I don't know. Does Shohei hitting a home run win you money anymore? I don't know. Ooh, this is a fun one. Texas and the Yankees.
Yeah.
I know, like, they're on weird trajectories right now because, like, I know, but like Texas just won the World Series, and the Yankees are the Yankees.
Yes.
Right. So the money line for that one is a plus 500 on the Rangers and a minus 810 for the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if there are any other fun ones coming up. We got bottom feeders. We got the fun. Yeah, I should say fun, but I don't know. Our teams have at least still some decent schedule left.
Yeah, but gosh, the Guardians are just in free fall right now.
Man, I'm a Reds fan.
Yeah.
You cannot make me feel any worse about my team right now. Literally the only bright spots have been Hunter and Ellie. That's it.
Fair
really. But the Reds are playing the Brewers here in the next series. It's a plus 130 on the Red Legs. And the Guardians are playing the Twins.
Yeah.
It's a plus 100 on the Guards.
Yes, I do not expect them to win. So I bet on the Twins. I won $115 yesterday because I put money on the Twins to take both games, and they did.
Wow. Wow. See, this is like, this guy loves to bet on the other shit happening just because he knows how disappointed he can get.
Yeah,
So at
I
least
mean,
why not bet on?
if I'm going to like, I think what was it like last year? I bet almost $1,000 on Michigan to beat Ohio State, and it
So
still sucked when they beat us. But I was like, at least I won a shitload of money.
just to finish reading what DraftKings can do for you guys, there is a quick same game parlay
Yeah,
uh on your guards game.
yeah,
That's a plus 1,000 parlay.
yeah,
4 legs. Bet the Guardians to snap the losing streak behind their all stars because they have like 5 of them.
yeah, yeah. They literally had 5.
Guards to win. Quan 2+ hits. Ramirez 1+ RBIs and Naylor 2+ total bases. That's a
Good.
pretty reasonable parlay, I would think.
It's very, very reasonable. What is it? Is it like, what's the plus on it?
1,000.
Really? Okay.
So
I mean, if they win, those all seem like very reasonable things. So, I mean, I think that's I think that's a good parlay.
So there's good things all around for you to check out. And if you're new to DraftKings, I know this ad reads running a little long, but you got to check this one out. New customers bet $5 and get 150 in bonus bets instantly. So all you got to do, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN. For new customers to get 150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5 only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Big breath in. Here we go. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Deposit and eligibility restrictions apply. See terms and conditions and responsible gambling resources at dkng.co/base. Wow, it really has been a hot minute.
It has.
Ugh. Sorry, DraftKings. We love you. So, the 2 of the 3. Who do you want to go for first?
I want to talk about KJ's first because I think this is the most intriguing.
Okay.
So we were curious about like what a bridge deal would look like, because I imagined it would probably be a 1 or 2 year deal if they're going on the cheaper side, because there's question marks after such a weird season last year for Kent. 3 years at less than $2 million.
Kent is
That has some serious potential for value. Like,
Kent's a weird case to me.
he is.
He's a 5th overall pick,
Yes.
drafted as a center,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And we know what kind of history this franchise has with drafting guys at center and then just converting them to full-time wingers.
Yeah.
KJ's put up respectable numbers over the last few years for what it's worth.
Yeah.
For
Well,
a guy,
great year at Michigan after we drafted him. He had a really good rookie season. And then last year, it, like, to say it was a sophomore slump. You know, it's funny. It literally reminded me, like, if you think about it, it almost resembled his first 2 years like Cole.
Cole was
Where Cole
similar,
had,
where
oh my gosh, his rookie season, like his numbers weren't like eye-popping, but for an 18-year-old, the youngest player in the NHL, he didn't look out of place.
it was brilliant. Like, for what
was
it's
like,
worth.
oh man, like they have a piece here. And then his second year is like, oh, this is
There's nothing. What happened?
And then it took a little bit of time into last year, but then it picked up again, and then it came together. And you hope that that's going to be the case for KJ because KJ is a more skilled player than Cole.
Yes.
So
KJ can do everything from slinging it around to scoring goals in front of the net. He's definitely like
lacrosse.
lacrosse, absolutely. Wow.
Very skilled, very, very skilled player, no doubt about it. But the good thing is like I know we talk about the frustrations of selecting a player as a center and then moving him to wing, but part of the reason they do that is because, well, you get Adam Fantilli,
right?
so that helps, and then B, this year in one fell swoop, you get Caden Lindstrom as well as Sean Monahan, so those are two centers right there.
Yeah.
So like, there's literally no need for them to try Kent Johnson at center again. And this is a guy who said, like, as he got older, like one player he looked up to was literally Johnny Gaudreau. Like he's one of the reasons that he wore 13. So instead of focusing on being a center, move him to left wing and have him work with Johnny as much as he can to try and maybe at least emulate that kind of player.
Right.
Like there's still so much potential here for Kent Johnson. So I'm still super, super excited for him. But
the deal itself is brilliant because it's what?
The deal itself is brilliant. I love the deal because even if it doesn't click for some time, it's not something you have to give up on anytime soon.
Because it's like 3.2 something for 3 years or something like that.
It's less than 2.
It's less than, oh, that's right. It's like 1.85.
Yeah.
For 3 years.
3 years. So he's not even making $2 million a year for the next 3 years.
God.
So they can be patient with him. They can watch his game develop. Even if it's slow, it's not the end of the world. As long as he's developing, as long as you can get him there, by the time he's due his next deal, it's all that matters.
Would you say he can be a 60-point player within the next 3 years?
He was a 40-point player his rookie season, wasn't he?
I can't remember.
I want to say he was. I want to say he had.
If he was a 40-point player in his rookie season, then absolutely he could be like a 30-30 guy or a 20-40 guy.
Kent Johnson's stats. I want to make sure, but like I'm fairly certain he had exactly 40 points his rookie season. He had 16 goals, 24 points for 40 points in 79 games. So the question of can he do it in the next 2 years? I don't know. But can he do it in the next 3? I think he can.
I think by the third year, he could put up like a 20-goal, 40-assist year.
Like 23 goals, like 37 assists. Like, yeah, like I absolutely could see that happening. So, yeah, I'll give you a yes on that answer.
Because, like, this is a guy that, you automatically fell in love with this kid.
Yeah, I love the natural skill of his game. He's just a very exciting player.
He's got this weird, like, I don't know if I want to call it weird, but like the amount of swagger that he carries with him. But he's also kind of a dork.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. It's just like stylistically, it's a very pleasing player to watch.
Right. He's got enough like sizzle and swag to the game that he plays that makes you excited for a player like him.
So, with that being said, last year was such a weird year and a disappointing year for him. But if you look at his pace, he would have been on pace for 31 points. Which, not saying that that's great, but that's not it's not as crazy or drastic of a drop as it may have seemed in real time. So you hope that the corrective course can get him back to where he was his rookie season, or maybe a little bit ahead of that. Like, could he give you 15 goals and over 35 points this season? I think that's more than realistic.
Right. At very least, we're going to look for the benchmark of a 15-goal, 35-point year. And if he goes beyond that, that's great.
That's great, yeah. And more than anything, it's not just in terms of the production, but also like his play away from the puck, which, as Dean time and time again, he's a guy that he can do that.
That's a huge emphasis with Dean Evason is play away from the puck.
Yeah.
Like how much did we see that with Kaprizov?
I have said this many times. I am a believer, whether it be with soccer or hockey, or even basketball to a certain extent. Your play away from the puck or the ball a lot of times improves your play with it.
Right.
Like I truly am under the belief that when you are committed defensively and committed, whether it be on ball defense or on puck defense or away from the puck defense, if you're playing structured and you're focusing on the elements away from the pure offense,
how many
your
times do we
offense
talk
will
about
improve because you're in position more, you're poised more. Like I think that there is so much to that philosophy. And
right?
we saw this under Torts.
How many
Look at
times do we talk about vision?
Yeah. Look at Pierre-Luc Dubois. His best season in the National Hockey League was his second year in the National Hockey League under Torts, and that's when his defense was probably at its best.
Right. Again, I bring up the I don't know, the skill of vision, I guess.
Yes.
Is one way to put it, right? The way you see the entirety of the ice surface, not just where your position is supposed to skate
Yes.
up and down the ice, but like being able to read plays all across the zone. Right? And
what did people always say about Wayne Gretzky? Is that he knew where you were going to be before you even knew where you were going to be.
Exactly. Like you got to be able to read where guys are going, where the puck is going, where the puck will be 20 milliseconds from now.
Yes. Don't skate to where the puck is, skate to where it's going to be,
Right.
Like that, it's such an underrated skill. And if you can improve that aspect in Kent Johnson, I really think the offense is only going to come for him. It's eventually going to click, and then I think you're going to see a guy who can become a core piece for the Blue Jackets.
Yes. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. I got a question for you, dude. Do you have when it comes to self-care, do you have any non-negotiables, like things that you absolutely have to do for yourself, like once maybe daily, weekly?
Yeah, napping is typically one.
That's a big one for a lot of people. That's definitely on my list.
But just especially if you work like long hours or like physical hours, like manual labor, like sometimes you just need to be able to lay down, not just for your own like physical health, but that could be draining mentally too.
Dude, I can't tell you how many times, because I work a second shift job, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's hard enough because you're usually sleeping when people are awake, and you don't even start until maybe 3, 4 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And you're working until midnight, 1 in the morning.
Yeah.
So your clock is already off.
Yeah. Your clock's off from everybody else. And sometimes it's hard to, get with friends or whatnot because you're on such a different schedule.
So a nap at I don't know, 1 or 2 for a half an hour is just that perfect little boom, and then I get
a half an hour. That's all I'm gonna have,
give or take, and then I get one of these.
Yeah,
and then I'm good.
Right.
So even when you have kids and when your job is really grueling, like ours can get sometimes, those non-negotiables, those naps, those times where you make time to go to the gym if you go, little tiny workouts, having like a comfort snack or something like that. Even something little like having a favorite meal can be kind of really hard to get by
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
make hard to make time for, right?
Mhm.
Priorities. When we know what makes us happy, it's hard to make time. But when you feel like you have no time for yourself, non-negotiables are essential.
Yes.
So you got to prioritize the main things like getting your meals in, your sleep in,
Mhm.
you know,
Exercise.
exercise, that kind of thing. And therapy is a big part of that. They can help you compartmentalize things, right?
Yes.
I've gone before.
Mhm.
And that was actually one of our main things was just like blocking out time, blocking out, you know, ways to organize your life
Mhm.
and organize your thoughts.
Yeah.
Um, they bring coping mechanisms for certain people that have gone through traumatic experiences, but like therapy is also just kind of helpful in everyday things. Like you don't have to have gone through something crazy
Yeah.
to go to therapy and just have somebody to talk to.
Mhm.
Venting with like family and stuff can help to a degree.
Yeah, but it's to a degree, I think is where that kind of ends.
Right,
You know.
exactly. Um, so if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, it's on your schedule. You can do it through messages, you can do it through video calls. It's very convenient and flexible. All you got to do is if you're going through stuff, you go on their website, you fill out a little questionnaire that can match you up with one of their therapists. And then, and they're all licensed. But if you need to switch at any point, there's no cost to switching therapists,
Yeah.
which is pretty nice.
Yes.
Um, so really, they've got a lot to offer. They've got licensed therapists, they've got the ability to switch, they've got convenience in terms of how you go about your therapy on your schedule, heck, even during your self-care routine, right?
Mm.
That could be a part of it. Um, so never skip therapy day with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/THPN today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP .com/THPN.
And then speaking of another core piece, which is also on a great deal, I'm stunned that they got this guy under 4 million. I know it's a bridge deal.
Just before his hearing, too, it was like, ooh.
I said this on our last podcast. I wasn't super concerned that it was going to go to a hearing. Um, I can't believe they got him under 4 million.
Under 4 million for Kirill Marchenko is awesome. It's what,
Like
like
if you
three,
would have told me we got him under 4 million, my guess would have been, oh, they gave him a 1 or 2 year deal. I wouldn't have guessed a 3 year deal.
3.85 mil per,
Yeah.
which for a guy that consistently shows the effort of a 25 to 30 goal scorer,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
That's a bargain.
Well, can I tell you what I think Kirill Marchenko has become for the Blue Jackets?
What's that?
I think he's become the new Oliver Bjorkstrand of the team.
Oh,
I think he's got
I mean,
a little
yes.
bit more skill than him. Like I think that Oliver is really good, but can Oliver be a 40 goal guy? I don't
I
think
don't
so.
think Oliver can be
Like, he
that.
can be 30 to 35 on a good year kind of
Right.
goal. But Marchenko could. I
Marchenko
think,
could crack 40, absolutely.
yeah.
And
I
that's
think
not to
he's
say
a little
because,
bit more
like,
skilled than Bjorkstrand. I think he's a more skilled player, but That's what he's become. He's become the new Bjorkstrand for the team, and in becoming the new Bjorkstrand for the team, he's also on a really good deal.
So let's Kirill came over and he spent what, like 16 games in Cleveland his rookie year?
Yeah, something like that.
And he was lighting the lamp almost every single game on a
He was
clip.
so good. They literally had no choice but to call him up.
And then he comes up and he plays a handful. He scores 4 assists.
That's what you lead with, his 4 assists.
But 21 goals for 25 points? I'm not looking at anything, so like I can't tell you like right off the top of my head what the actual numbers are.
I could pull up the stats.
I want to say it was 21 goals. Because he like broke a rookie record.
So he had
franchise.
21 goals and 4 assists for 25 points. And this was right after, as you said, 16 games in the American Hockey League. He had 8 goals and 11 assists, and they had no choice but to call him up.
19 points in 16 games in your first games in North America is like, whoa.
In those 16 games,
brilliant.
16 games, he had 19 points, and he was a -5.
A -5.
Good God.
So, I understand that the thing with Kirill Marchenko that we look at is the goal scoring.
Mm-hmm.
Which, don't get me wrong, the point of the sport of hockey is to score goals and, allow less than your opponent.
Put puck in net.
Yeah. We haven't had too many guys that are like that kind of guy. We thought Patrick was going to be that kind of guy. It turns out we just kind of fleshed out his all-around game.
Yes.
Right? Kirill Marchenko is this pure goal scorer that we need. Now, granted, I want to see more playmaking come from Kirill.
Yeah, but he improved on it last year. He had, what, 19 assists?
I think so.
Yeah, so, I mean, he was close to that 1-to-1 ratio between goals and assists, so.
So, like, I would love to see a more all-around performance come from Kirill over these next few years, but at the same time, crank those goals, bro.
Yeah.
Plus, that's a bargain in the locker room. Because think about what this kid does for the vibes of this team.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he is ultimate vibes guy.
He is all smiles all the time. Like, that
there's something funny when your all smiles guy is missing teeth.
Yeah. I mean, look at Domi in a Leaf sweater, right?
Or any sweater, for that
or
matter.
any sweater for that matter.
For a lot of different ones. Yeah. Yeah, you need those guys. And to get this guy on a good deal, that's big. I am curious, like, what do you expect? Because it's been reported that it's probably going to be a 2-year deal for Cole Sillinger. Like, what do you expect the money to look like on that?
For Cole for 2 years. His rookie was the standard, right? The 925?
Probably.
Because KJ's at 1.8. Kirill's at 3.8.
I have a specific like contract construction in my mind.
Give him 2 at, I don't know, 2.65.
So I had in my mind 2.5 for the next 2 years. Year 1, he makes like 2.2, and then year 2, he makes 2.8.
That's about where I was going with that.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
because like
he's somewhere in the, like when you look at because you look at the contracts, you have to compare them, and it's like, well, he's obviously in terms of production and what we've seen, he's somewhere between KJ and Kirill.
So yeah, he's like weirdly
like right
he's well, he is a center, so he is right in the middle.
Yeah, true. Two wingers and a center.
But the weird thing about Cole is like, we talked about this earlier. He popped off as an 18-year-old for what it's worth, being the youngest player in the league. He didn't like wow any heads except for just being a kid that could come in and score what looks to be 20 goals and 40 points a year as a center, right?
Yeah.
And you would hope that now with the addition of Lindstrom, that Cole would be like your third line guy, which is about 40 points is what you expect out of your third line center, right?
If you have a good third line center, yeah, absolutely.
And then we talked about how much he just dipped into the depths of the abyss his sophomore year.
It couldn't have been worse.
What was that sophomore stat line? You look that up really quick.
4 goals.
Wow, just before he changed his jersey number to the amount of goals he scored in his sophomore year. I will stand by that fact that 4 is not a center's number.
Oh, I agree. I didn't like it when he did that.
It's so strange. 4 is a defenseman's number.
So his first year, oh no, he did not have 4 goals that year. He had less.
Oh.
So his rookie year in 79 games, he had 16 goals, 15 assists for 31 points.
That's nice. That's good.
Respectable. Last year, he had 13 goals and 19 assists for 32 points in 77 games.
Okay, that's about the same pace.
And he was only a -4.
Okay, Jersey conspiracy.
Alrighty. Wow, so interesting. Like his plus minus was a lot better last year.
I don't know. He was playing a lot like, he still played a lot of third line, even though he did get all those elevated minutes.
So, he improved from his rookie year just in terms of point production, plus minus.
In between that, though, was
Well, we don't talk about that.
We won't talk about it.
He in 64 games, he had 3 goals and 8 assists for 11 points.
Oh. Wasn't he also going through the Tate stuff too?
That was like right after the Tate stuff.
That was the Tate stuff, yeah.
I can't believe he tainted his season like that.
Wow.
I'm gonna call her Taint McRae from now on.
Oh no, we're not. We're not gonna call her that.
Yeah, because yeah.
That could be taken way too many ways. I don't know if we want to do that.
Nobody take that out of context, please.
Hey, at least Sabrina Carpenter can probably put some goalie pads on the right way.
I am seeing her at Nation.
I know you are.
I'm gonna tell you, that's gonna be what turns this franchise around.
It's the Carpenter concert.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know. I just saw these guys at Great American Ballpark.
So that allows us to transition into that conversation. We're actually doing very well on time. We're 50 minutes in, so let's have this be the end of it. Let's let you talk about your show
really quick. Yes, looking at Cole, about 2.5 for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. That's very fair.
Yes.
Because we got what's Yegor's new contract is like 3-ish, a little less than 3 for 2 years. It's like 2.8. Which I know you're comparing a center and a winger, but
so 2.1.
2.1. Yeah. Which, is fair because like Yegor's had his struggles.
Yes.
But he's also, for a 12th and a 21st overall pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty fair.
Yeah.
I will say, we got the Mafia together. Don and Dean.
Don and Dean, baby.
Don and Dean, baby.
It's the way we wanted it.
That's the way we wrote. Shout outs to our buddy Dylan Tyre for like, oh my god, the memes that he was making.
You know what I have to say about this, like where we are at, looking at the present and more importantly, the future of the Blue Jackets.
Mm-hmm.
It's times like these that I get very excited.
Yo. See, because we had that the last show. I was like, we already had title ideas because the last show we had was pre-concert.
Yes.
And I was super excited, and we were just like, let's just call this Monkey Wrench because like there's a lot of weird monkey wrenches going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you could say that like the additions of Sean Monahan and then drafting Caden Lindstrom have probably thrown a monkey wrench into the plans of Kent Johnson at center.
Right, exactly.
But a good monkey wrench because I think he's better on the wing. So
right. So Foo Fighters.
Mm-hmm.
They just had a show in Denver at Empower Field.
That's where the Broncos play.
Yeah, that's at Mile High. They just did, I think last night, if not tonight, they're doing like a 2-day set in LA.
Yeah.
They're doing a whole stadium tour for the Everything or Nothing at All tour.
Mm-hmm.
This is their first tour with Josh Freese.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since Taylor had passed and the album came out. I gotta say, man, Linkin Park will always be like number one because I got to see Chester and it was my first huge concert. I was 14, man. Dude.
Fair. Yeah.
This show is right. It's tied. It's 1B.
Fair. Yeah.
This is the best, like the best show I've seen in my life.
They are unbelievable live. They're
so because they've been around for about 30 years, they've got plenty of material to work with.
Yes, they do. They really do.
And that's not even counting, like, I don't know. That's just Dave.
Mm-hmm.
They played a song from almost every album, at least. The only album that didn't get any love was Sonic Highways.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I love Something from Nothing.
Yeah, that album is okay. Something from Nothing's pretty good, but
dude, that thing fires me up before work almost every freaking day.
But it's just like after that, it's just like a lot of like, ugh.
They have that song with Zach Brown though, and it's like, oh, I love Zach Brown. Anyway, so the experience part, right?
Mm-hmm.
We leave early. We went and we picked up some like brisket to go.
Mm-hmm.
Some like from like a brisket and pork place. I can't remember what it was called exactly, but it was really good. Doing a little pregame, right? That kind of thing on the way. We get to the ballpark. Wolfgang Van Halen had already kind of started. Because I think they started the gates opened at 3:30 and Van Halen and Mammoth was at like 5:30.
Yeah.
We get to our seats, which were if you want like a quick recap of this, just go to my Instagram. It's the same handle as I have here and everywhere.
Yeah.
Snake Geringer. It's pinned. It's like, we get there. Our seats were as high up and far back as you could be. We were in like the 500s of the stadium seats.
Okay.
Like big nosebleeds. Because those were apparently seats like even in the 100s of the actual baseball stadium were like $400 a piece.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That's about right.
So, we get there. We probably only had a couple of rounds of beers each
Yeah.
because those ballpark beers are like $16 a pop for like a
I'm
16-ounce
surprised they're
can.
not more.
For like a 16-ounce can.
Yeah.
$1
an ounce.
Right. Wolfgang was awesome. Mammoth was great. Their band jams, and you could just feel it within the way that they set up everything for the speakers and throughout the crowd and everything. You could just literally feel it in your gut and in your chest. The bass drums and the bass guitars and everything just like just vibrating everything in your body. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how hard Mammoth plays. Holy crap. And they only played for like a half an hour. The Pretenders were fun.
Mm-hmm.
They had, a really nice, about an hour-long set. They're just not like, I'm a little past that era.
Yeah.
The Pretenders, right? I know and like a couple of their songs.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I was there for fucking Foo Fighters, man. Come on. Right?
I was about to say, what was it, 500 miles? And I was like, wait, no, that's the Proclaimers.
That's Proclaimers. So Pretenders ends.
Okay.
And this is just, story time with Jake, I guess, right?
Yes.
We go to try to get me a shirt. We're waiting all the way far back.
Yeah.
This line was crazy. Mom and I go to get a second round of beers. Josh is holding our place in line. We come back. Line barely moves.
Mm-hmm.
That took us like 10 minutes to get those beers. Line barely moved. People are cutting in front of us, trying to get to other places. They're being all rude. They're not even, only a handful said, excuse me, and we're like actually polite.
Yeah.
Eventually, we find out that this little thing that's selling shirts is barely even a line. It's just a glob of people.
I hate that. You got to have people there to like police the line.
And they're taking their sweet. They're not even deciding on the shirt before they get there.
That's just
They're
like,
taking 10 minutes to look at all the shirts and be like, you know what I mean?
yeah, that always bothers me.
So we get to a point where it's like 10 till 8 because Foo Fighters started at 8.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, all right, I might get a shirt on Amazon if I have to.
Okay.
Because I don't want to miss a single second.
God, no, you shouldn't.
Why would I want to miss a second of Dave Grohl? Which, by the way, Dave is such a fucking dork.
Yes, he is.
And I love that about him. I'm going to go through the set list and then I'm just going to gush about fucking Dave.
So it sounds like when you were like waiting in line, you were waiting all my life.
All my life. And then,
you decided, you know what? I've waited long enough. I'll stick around.
We get back to
that. You're like, I need to walk to my seats.
We get back all la-di-da, right?
Yeah, it just like it was forever, It
took like ever long.
Yeah.
We get back to the seats. I'm just gonna run through the set list and I'm just gonna talk about Dave. So they let off with All My Life.
That's a good way to start off, yeah.
Just party hard, right?
Yeah.
Then they go into No Son of Mine. Because like I said, the only album that they didn't play from was Sonic Highways.
So they didn't play anything from it.
No. They have 11 albums. They played from 10. Give or take. They had snippets of Paranoid by Sabbath and Enter Sandman mixed in with No Son of Mine, which I love Medicine at Midnight. It is one of my top albums of theirs.
Okay.
Medicine is such a fun, groovy album. Then they played Rescued third. They had a 24-song set. They played Rescued. They played The Pretender. Walk was fifth. Times Like These was great because Rami and Dave started off and then they went into the full band. Right?
Yeah.
Then they played Generator, and I got, oh my God, Generator! There were two songs that I was really hoping to hear, and Generator was one of them, and I was just like, yay, I wanted to cry.
Yeah.
Then they played La Di Da, which Concrete and Gold is a hell of an album. If you don't know about Concrete and Gold, that one is really like industrial kind of sounding and really fun.
Yeah.
And just jamming. Then they played Breakout.
Yep.
Yeah. They played stuff from everything. Then 10th, they went into the band introductions.
Okay.
So this was a big medley that they had. Chris Shiflett, who plays guitar, played the solo from Eruption and then a little bit of Thunderstruck.
Nice.
Hell yeah. Nate Mendel, the bassist, played some Sabotage by the Beastie Boys.
Nice.
Rami, who plays keyboards and all that fun stuff, just had a big old keyboard solo. Pat Smear, who also was with Dave and Nirvana for the last album, right? Everybody loves Pat.
Yeah.
Dave's known Pat forever. He played Blitzkrieg Bop.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which shows you how old those guys are.
Jeez.
And then Josh was the last one. Josh Freese, the drummer. Josh Freese used to play for Trent Reznor in Nine Inch Nails.
Nice.
So his introduction was March of the Pigs.
Okay.
Hell yeah. And then after the band introductions, you get one of my favorite songs ever, my mom's favorite Foo Fighters song, because she, and my dad's too, they both attribute it to me. My Hero.
Yes. It's a great song.
Then they get into The Sky is a Neighborhood. Yes! That was the other song that I was really, really hoping to hear.
Yes.
I love The Sky is a Neighborhood. Just the stomping and the huge, like, there's this huge sound to it that I just love. Right?
Yeah.
And then they played Learn to Fly.
Oh, yeah.
So it just gets more and more and more and more.
Yeah.
Right?
How much do they play total?
24, like I said.
Oh, wow.
The Sky's a Neighborhood is halfway through. They played Learn to Fly, which, by the way, I love Dave on the Kelly Clarkson show talking about Learn to Fly. Have you heard this story?
Oh, I haven't. No.
She was talking about how much she loves the lyrics and how much it like inspires her and all this stuff. And Dave just looks at her and goes, I don't want to burst your bubble.
Yeah.
It's really not that deep. I wanted to become a pilot. That's it. I wanted to become a pilot. It's like, I'll send you the clip. It's such a fun story. And he was like, wait, there's math involved? I can't do this. They played Arlandria right after that. Hell yes.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one.
Arlandria was great.
It's such a good album.
Wasting Light is their like objective best thing they've ever done. That's like their magnum opus, I think.
I really do. I've always felt that way.
You're gonna love this then, because they went back to back with Arlandria and These Days. Yeah.
Were those the two that they played, or did they play more from Wasting Light?
They played Walk fifth.
No. Oh yeah. Okay. Nice.
Yeah, so they played Walk pretty early. But then 16th is where things kind of changed, right? They go acoustic. Little acoustic.
Mhm.
This is the first time. What? You all right?
I'm thinking, like, what do they play in acoustic? Can I give a guess?
Go for it.
Best of You?
No.
Oh, what was it?
This is the first time I've ever heard this song.
Okay.
They played Skin and Bones.
Oh God, I should have guessed that one because I've heard that acoustic version before.
This
That's
was
a really good one. That's really good acoustic.
this is so much fun because like I've never seen like Weird Al, right?
Mhm.
This was the first time I've ever seen an accordion solo because it was just Dave and Rami.
Yeah.
And they're just jamming and Rami's doing this with the accordion, right? They're
Yeah.
just like going crazy. And then after that, we're just, this fun time, right? Dave goes by himself to play Under You acoustically, which just melted at my heart,
Yeah.
right? And then they played a snippet of Blackbird by the Beatles during Nothing at All, because you got to play Nothing at All. The tour that you named
Yeah.
after the song, right? And then getting closer to the end, 19th, because this one gets played near the end of every show. They played This Is a Call. Cause yeah.
Because duh.
That's the introduction to Foo Fighters as a whole.
It is.
What a jam it is.
Mhm.
Right? And then finally 20th, Mom and I got to scream our lungs out. Monkey Wrench.
Yep.
This was probably the best part, and I'll get to that. But like screaming to Monkey Wrench, and then they played Aurora, and they dedicated that to Taylor because that was Taylor's favorite song to play. Right?
Yeah.
God, we miss you, Taylor. And then they played Best of You.
And do they do like an encore thing or?
That ended the regular set.
Okay.
The encore, only 2 songs.
Okay.
Written and dedicated to Virginia Grohl,
Mhm.
Dave's mom,
Mhm.
who apparently the day of our show, like 2 years to the day,
Mhm.
was the day that his mom passed.
Yeah.
The teacher was written for Virginia.
Okay.
So they jam to the teacher. It's a 10-minute crazy journey.
Mhm.
If you haven't listened to the teacher before, go listen to the whole But Here We Are album. But like the teacher is just like, oh my God.
Well, it's also a good one if you're doing like 2 songs for the encore, like to have like a long song, like
It's a 10-minute song, guys.
Yeah.
And then, of course, because you can't end a Foo Fighters show any other way, you got to finish with Everlong.
Nice.
And just getting to scream and cry and sing and
So they didn't do the Pretender, or did they?
They did play the Pretender. That was just before Walk. That was 4th.
Okay.
That was when everybody was partying, right?
Nice. I was gonna say because I couldn't like remember it in my head. I was like, it'd be weird if they didn't play that. Like,
So go look at my Instagram really quick because the setup of the stage, the ballpark was brilliant because like you had the runway, you had the stage in the back, you had the little like compass with the logo on it, and they paint the logo in Reds colors on the pitcher's mound.
nice.
Yes.
That's awesome.
It was so good. And the stage is like out, towards by the smokestacks where you can look out on the river, and it was just a great view, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, David Grohl, this man has some of the best stage presence I've ever seen in my life. If you go and you just watch videos of him just being a total ham, right?
Yeah.
They don't call him the nicest guy in rock for nothing.
Right.
We're jamming out. He's about to he finishes The Pretender. And he screams at us. He goes, "Cincinnati, do you like rock and roll?" And then we all start cheering, right?
Yeah.
And then he gets this cheeky grin on his face and he just goes, "Me too."
Yep.
And that was one of his big bits. Like, he had bits left, right, and center for this.
Yeah.
He had one of his bits was talking about the OGs, him being the OG, and saying that they were going to play songs for the older crowd and the younger crowd, people that have never been to a Foo Fighters show before, things like that. Right?
Yeah.
Before La Di Da, he had this talk where he said something like, so we write a lot of our songs starting really acoustically, right? Like, the base of their songwriting is through acoustics.
Yes.
But then we also write some really fucked up shit. And you want to hear a really fucked up shit song right now? And then they played La Di Da, which is one of their biggest politically charged songs.
Yeah.
Because the thing about, I don't know if you know this, when you look at the lyrics to La Di Da, it's a lot about neo-Nazi bands and things like that. Like Psychic Television, Death in June. Those are apparently two really political bands. I think Concrete and Gold, because it was 2017, it was election time. A lot of stuff was kind of around that.
Yeah.
Yeah, even in the art.
I think we
stuff,
know that.
right?
Yeah.
But the back and forth between playing something for the OGs versus playing something for the new people versus playing, something for everybody, right?
Yeah.
I loved during the No Son of Mine when they were doing the solos and incorporating the other music. They were like, do you like this kind of rock and roll? And then they would play Paranoid or they would play Enter Sandman.
Yeah.
That was a big part of his Me Too bit.
Nice.
He was like, I see all you older motherfuckers that are around my age in your 50s out there. All you OGs out there.
How old is he?
He is my dad's age. He is 54.
Yes, I was thinking 55 in my head. It's crazy to think,
that man has been doing stuff since he was 18.
I know. And that's why it's so crazy to think about at this point in his life and in his career. Gosh.
He's been doing Foo Fighters for next year's 30 years.
And that was his second project.
Holy shit, because you were the drummer for the biggest band of the 90s.
Yeah.
And then you lose your singer. And then you go off and you do this for fun. And it takes off.
It's an all-time great rock and roll career.
And then you lose your drummer, your best friend. Twice.
Yeah.
But Here We Are was the first album that Dave played drums on since In Your Honor in 2005. That just shows the longevity of this guy, the perseverance of this guy.
His ability to stay current is very impressive.
Which I love how I wonder if he did this for every stadium. there was something he was talking about, like, I love coming back to Ohio. I was born here,
Yeah.
like
He loves home.
Warren, Ohio's finest. I know he was raised mainly in Virginia.
Yeah.
But like there's something that whenever he comes back to Ohio, there's something about it.
Yeah.
I love that he found out, he was like, we were walking in here and you have this place here called fucking Porkopolis?
I don't know what that is.
It's a pork restaurant. He was like, I know where the fuck I'm going after the show. Shit.
Isn't it good?
I actually haven't had it because the only time I see it is in the ballpark.
Okay, interesting.
I might have to have it, but then again, Skyline.
Ugh.
Dude, getting a Coney at the ballpark? Come on.
God, just kind of ass.
Okay, are we gonna have a fight before the show ends? Shit.
Good God.
Which, by the way,
I don't like chili in general.
Okay.
It doesn't really have a
Alright.
fair fight. It doesn't really have a
Alright.
fair fight. So,
I was gonna say, probably could have led with that before hurting my soul.
But that was the point, was to hurt your soul and everybody in Cincinnati's soul.
So we leave after just being on a high in my brain.
Mhm.
And I was like, well, maybe we'll go, I'll just go on Amazon and get a shirt and whatever. This one doesn't have tour dates on the back, is the only thing. I wanted one with tour dates. And when we were looking, and there's a little shop that's still selling, right?
Mhm.
As we're leaving, we get in line, we go really quick, we get a shirt. And we got this shirt because the only reason why we didn't get one with tour dates on the back, he didn't have one in my size.
Damn.
So like,
Ugh.
But, Foo Fighters rock and roll.
Fuck yeah.
We loved every fucking second.
I'm so glad. I was really looking forward to this for you.
I'm going to be riding this high for this whole month of August and probably longer.
As you should.
Because, like, I had been looking forward to the show since Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
I waited 7 months to the day for that thing.
God, that's how long ago that concert was. It was what, July 25th?
July 25th. And it's August 10th when we're recording this show.
Jeez, we've been out of commission for some time, haven't we?
I'm sorry, guys. Like, I can't help that my internet stopped.
It's not okay.
But hey, we're here. We're back. And it's times like these we learn to love again.
Exactly. And here's to hoping that the Columbus Blue Jackets break out.
We love you all. We really do.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for indulging me.
Yes. Always. Always. When it comes to Foo Fighters, always.
Oh my gosh. We love you guys. We're gonna try to figure out, something regular again.
Mm-hmm.
Especially now that, like, I think training camp's in a couple of weeks?
Yeah.
So we'll try to get one more episode before training camp and then start ramping up the content again as best as we can, because my job's getting hectic. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I actually made a lot of big changes. But we just need to try to block out as much time as we can.
Yes, I agree.
And we'll see y'all next time.
Jake Jackets, a podcast for fifth liners and all puckheads around. Follow the guys on Twitter at Snake Gehringer, GARRINGER, and at by J Ashdown. And subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen. March on.